Messier Mantra with your host, Mike Messier. Our guest, Brad Pierce. Brad, we've never really wrapped out, but you're a comedian, you're a DJ, and you do a lot of cool stuff. And we kind of have similar paths because we both started more or less in Rhode Island Public Access. And I've just been seeing you blow up. I remember being in Providence, doing my own show, but catching you at those late night hours. And you and your friends were doing your show at that time, The Golden Mike, and I enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like most successful people, we started on public access.
Right.
I shot in my parents' driveway.
Yeah, I remember that.
And that's why I'm so big time today, is because of those experiences in my neighborhood.
You had a couch in the driveway, I believe.
Well, we had a chair, and my co-host, Doug Silva, would sit on a toilet.
Yes.
So my friends bought me a toilet for Christmas one year.
Right.
So, you know, as a chair, like I never connected it, didn't take dumps in it.
Sure.
But I used it as my co-host chair.
Right.
So we would just bring the toilet outside when it was time to shoot, you know.
Right.
It's a very professional show.
What was your buddy's name? Your co-host?
Doug Silva.
Yes. Is he still with us?
He's floating around. He's still doing music.
Okay.
He's studying like archival something, like archival media something. He's always doing something weird.
As long as he's alive.
He's alive. He's alive. I mean, the amount of cigarettes and coffee he has, it's probably not much time left, but he's still with us, yeah.
Now, we'll go through your whole history succinctly, because we got like a 26-minute show. So, The Golden Mike was on for what, 10 years? It was nice.
I don't know. I lost count.
It was a good show. I liked it.
Thanks.
And then you kind of segued into live performance of stand-up comedy.
Yeah, I've been doing stand-up for just about 2 years now. I wanted to do comedy for like 10 years, but I was being a pansy, and I would just say, I'll do that eventually. And then, yeah, I finally, now I'm doing it, and I'm loving it. And I do regret not starting earlier, but I basically age 10 years slower than the average person anyways.
Right.
You know, so I'm always like 10 years behind.
Let's take a look at a clip of you doing stand-up comedy from a recent show. Let's check this out. Here is Brad Pierce, our special guest, doing some stand-up live comedy. Let's check it out right here on Messier Mantra.
I don't live in Oakland Beach. Perfectly timed, sir. I was just gonna say, I don't live in Oakland Beach because I love myself. I'm like that gentleman who gave up many, many years ago. Yeah, this guy is rowdy. Sir, what have you been drinking tonight? He had to check with the rest of the table. He's like, I blacked out an hour ago. Guys, what the heck have I been drinking? The Oakland Beach guy's still screaming. How many beers have you had, sir? You lost count. Well, hey, if I lived in Oakland Beach, I'd be right there with you, dude. You're probably my age, actually. How are you folks doing from the assisted living home? Are you guys having a good time? You guys coming to bus or something tonight? What's the story? She didn't even stop pouring her A1 sauce. She's like, kids these days and their funny business. They said, come down, do a couple of jokes before you work. Well, I've been late for work for the last 45 minutes while you guys have been eating 9,000 courses. Was it good? Great spot to walk through, man. Thank you for that. She just wanted to do a cameo spot for the show. It's good to have you on board. Stand up and pump your fist so they can see you in the back. This guy's a wild man. Yeah, he came here to have a good time. What happened? What are you yelling about? Dessert? Take off your shirt. I mean, they said no swearing. They did not say no nudity. So if you want to, yeah, show off the beer belly. That guy looked like me before he got here. That's how much he's been drinking.
Welcome back. We're here with Brad Pierce on Messier Mantra, enjoying the nice electrical tape.
And I'm enjoying my duct tape coffee. You know, I suggest if you're a coffee drinker like myself, that you go to Gaff Tape Coffee Shop. They're amazing. They have all sorts of flavors. They have Scotch tape, duct tape, gaff tape, electrical tape. It's a great place. I highly recommend it.
And you and I will say this, some of the more independent coffee houses, I see you at all the independent coffee houses. Felicia seems where, she's a nice lady and she has...
Yeah, I have problems. I have a serious addiction to caffeine. It's not normal.
And I've seen even your like wedding picture in this particular
at
coffee
Felicia's,
house.
yeah.
I thought you got married in the coffee house, but you said that you guys were driving after the ceremony.
Yeah, the limo was going by, and I think I paid $1 billion for this limo. The least thing I can do is get myself a nice coffee.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, it's all about the bride, but in that moment, I was like, it's my wedding day. I should be able to go with a limo and get nice coffee. Shout out to Felicia's. I don't know where to look. I want to film the Vinny Paz episode of Beverages with Brad.
Oh, now you're plugging your own show on my show.
Let's do it. Sorry.
Right.
Mike, I'm getting a little fired up. This is my second coffee in like the last hour. If you need to punch me in the face
no,
to slow me down.
No, I'm not going to punch you. The microphone might stretch. So now, the funny thing is, did you get free coffee in your wedding, or did they actually charge you?
You know, I'm going to plead the fifth on that.
Yeah, right. Brad, congratulations. You're getting married. You're taking this wonderful picture with your wife in our front lawn of Felicia's that you can cherish, and then it'll be $6.85 for your 2 coffees. Yeah. But everyone's going to make a buck, right? So we haven't even started yet, but what's next for Brad Pierce? Because you're doing so much stuff.
I would like to get good at things. Okay. I feel like I do a lot of things, and I would like to get better at all of them. So, I'm a DJ. I'm a videographer. I'm a comedian.
Right.
I'm a tall guy. I don't want to get taller, I guess. I would like to get better at all these things. Right now it's very important to me to get better at stand-up comedy. It's very hard. 2 years, I'm still fairly new, I would like to get involved I would like to be in movies,
Right.
I would like to do that. I've thought about maybe looking into improv or some sort of acting. I would like to be in films. That's something that interests me and always has.
Well, you helped us out with Anders Manor. You basically hosted and probably promoted to some extent the Funny for Fun's fundraiser back in August of 2016.
Yeah, it was a great experience.
Yeah, and you did great.
Thank you very much. And I got to say, all of my highlights in the last 2 years of doing stand-up comedy, I really owe to Bill Simas and Mike Murray from Funny for Funds. They have given me my biggest shows, my most successful stage time, and I owe those guys the world. They're great guys. What they do is great. They raise money for all different causes, people in need. Whether it's something as little as like a softball team to something as serious as cancer, they're helping people out and giving people a good time. And I'm just really thankful to be part of what they're doing.
Well, I really respect what you just said, and those guys are funny too. And
very funny. Yeah.
There was 4 comedians that night. Just to share a little bit about Funny for Funds. You came out as a host.
Yeah.
And then I guess it was I want to say Billy first, then Mike, and then the headliner was Mitch.
Mitch Fatel was national headliner. Great guy. He was really cool. I was honored to meet him because he's really great, and he was a really nice dude. And we all had a great time. It was a great crowd that night. I'm really excited for the film. I'm proud of you guys for putting that together. I'm excited for you. So all in all, it was a really cool experience.
Now, when you do stand-up comedy for fundraisers, is there a different vibe, or like if you go in there, say serious stuff, or like for people that have serious health issues? Or who knows, maybe it's a domestic violence victims or something like that. Are you sensitive to maybe the needs of the audience? Like, hey, these are people that are deathly ill, or these are people that are senior citizens. Does that come into play, or is it pretty much everything?
For me, I can only speak for myself, you know what I mean? Funny for Funds is a lot of comics working for them, a lot of great comedians. For me, I somewhat try to be. For example, we did the big D Strong fundraiser show, which was a huge show for a great cause.
Right.
I personally I don't have kids, and I don't ever want kids.
Sure.
And I like to make jokes about how I don't want kids.
Right.
That particular night, I'm not going to go on stage in front of 800 people and start complaining about kids, because that would be a pretty a D-bag move of me.
Insensitive to the fact.
Did you see how I just censored myself?
Yeah, it was good.
I could have said a worse word.
Right. No, I get it.
I'm trying to do the great thing here. But so I try to somewhat be sensitive.
Right.
Although sometimes when I do these shows, there'll be like an absorbent amount of old people in the audience. Not always, but sometimes.
Sure.
And I do have a lot of comedy making fun of old people, in which case I don't censor myself.
Right.
And they either like it and they like laughing at themselves, or they hate me. I mean, you can get kind of both there. But so, a little bit. Depends on how serious it is.
What I like about your comedy, and I saw you live in action, and I watched some of your clips online for our show, is that you're very good with working the crowd spontaneously.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and it's funny what you're doing, because there's a little bit of an edge to it, but not too much, because you're kind of working the crowd, working certain members against certain hecklers, but not crucifying them, so to speak.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going after someone's jugular or making them feel horrible.
Yeah.
Maybe ribbing them.
Yeah.
And there's a fine line, because I know I did stand-up comedy a while ago, and I had a difficult time, because if someone was in the audience side talking or doing stuff, I got really angry. I took it very personally.
Yeah,
you know?
and that is a hard part of it. Fortunately for me, so far, as you know, every night's different.
Right.
So far, that has kind of led to some of my better experiences. I feel a little bit more comfortable with just talking. I have no problem talking with an audience and messing around and going on the fly. Where I get the most nervous and where I have to put in the most work is my written material.
Okay.
And that's sometimes harder for me to be natural when I have to be like, okay, what's my next joke? What's my next line? And when it's just dealing with morons in the audience that are being obnoxious or whatever, I feel a little more comfortable.
Right.
And I don't know, what that's from. Maybe because when I did my old public access show, we never had a script. We were so unprofessional. We would just hit record and just start blabbing.
Sure.
Whereas I've never been like, a trained actor or anything, so I'm just not used to memorizing monologues.
Right.
So for me, that has been fun. But I definitely have had moments also, though, where I'm right in the middle of a joke, like right about to get to the punchline, and someone screams something, and it's hard. It's like you said, it's really tough. It's stand-up comedy is really hard, and people I don't think realize how much their behavior in the audience affects the guy on stage or the girl on stage.
Right. Well, I mean, you wouldn't go to most people, if they're sane, would not go to a theater company, whether it's in downtown Providence, Boston, New York City, LA, or Chicago, wherever. They want to go to a theater company, throw down $35 or $40 or more, and then sit there and crack. And even in the theater, they say, please unwrap your chocolate bars now, because they don't even want to hear a rapper. And like, if you have a phone ringing in the middle of a theater show, you're dead. Like, you're out.
Yeah, it's not, those standards somehow do not apply to stand-up, man. You see all sorts of crazy stuff,
And I think some of the actors, not putting anybody down, but some of these stage actors might err on the side of pretentiousness, and that's fine, but they don't realize that what you're doing, what I'm doing, with dinner theater shows sometimes, it's harder. In a lot of ways it is. I mean, it's very difficult for me to memorize a ton of lines, but I think for a lot of classically trained actors to do stand-up comedy, what you're doing, or to do comedy ensemble, dinner theater, what I'm doing, I don't think other more classically trained, they couldn't handle it.
It's a different beast for sure.
Right.
And there's a lot of things that come out and people yell things. I've dealt with some pretty crazy people, and I'm just getting this thing started, so God knows what's ahead of me.
Have you thought about, I know maybe you already have, exploring the Boston comedy scene, New York City? Have you gone on the road
trips? Yeah, a little bit. I performed in Gotham recently, which again, I owe that to Bill Simus, but I got a spot I did at Gotham Live, which was a huge honor, and I was real excited. I mean, that's a really, really well-known comedy club.
Right.
So that was a really cool experience. I would like to go back and do that again. And, I try, like, if I'm traveling or whatever, I try to hit spots. I just did a set at the Comedy Underground in Seattle, which was one of those things where some things happened that I didn't expect.
Right.
So when I went on stage, I was a little bit more on edge than normal.
No Kurt Cobain jokes, I'm sure. Aberdeen.
Just all flannel.
Smells like death,
Yeah, I think I did make some references to the very hipster crowd I was in front of. But anyways, so that was recently, and and then like when I went to Atlanta, I did a spot at the Laughing Skull. So like I try to jump into those clubs. My main focus though right now is really just to get as much stage time as possible, no matter what it is, to try to get better. And then take it from there. And if I can get spots in clubs like that, great.
I'm pretty impressed you went to Seattle and Atlanta. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's not like it's not like the club called me up and flew me out there. I went to visit. I went to a wedding in Atlanta.
Sure.
And I contacted the club, sent them a video, and then when I went to Seattle for Thanksgiving to visit some family and did the same thing. I sent him a clip.
Did you bring like a turkey on stage?
Yeah, I had a dancing turkey with me. We had a little two-man show. Yeah.
What type of stuff do you find funny?
What do I find funny? Now, do you mean like do I enjoy watching, or do you mean like that I write about? What do you?
Both. Let's talk about what you write about first. Like what themes or?
I don't know. Like you know, for me, I talk about, you know, some family. Like I talk of my grandmother, who's kind of, I don't know how much language I'm limited to here, but my grandmother's 100, and she's an asshole. Sure. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that. So like that's
grandma. Yeah,
that's something I joke about. Like it's pretty crazy. She's 100. She causes a lot of drama. So that's something fun. I talk about my mom a little bit. They're very old school and conservative.
Right.
So they're not like really big on me being on stage swearing and being obnoxious. So that's something. Like I said earlier.
Bradley, why do you have to say those things?
Yeah, why? Yeah,
Is
like
they
get embarrassed.
Bradley,
you know?
why do you have to say those things?
She hits me with a walker.
Take your turkey and go to Seattle.
So
I'm trying to keep up with you, man.
we don't have kids, and every day someone asks us, "Why don't you have kids? When are you gonna have kids?"
No, you're really getting me going.
Yeah, I want to keep her attractive. That's why. No, oh God, no. Well, I can't control myself sometimes. Yeah, we don't have kids, you know, because we like to enjoy life. And we like to be able to do things, and people with kids are miserable and don't enjoy life and can't do anything.
I actually agree. Yeah.
For me, it's common sense, but for people, it drives them crazy. So that's another thing I like to talk about.
Right.
And then just, you know, stuff like that, stuff personal to me. I've made jokes about certain coffee shops that I sometimes cover with gaff tape. I have some jokes about that establishment, which we will not mention.
Right.
Because I go there often and I see things there that are really disgusting. And why I'm like, why is Dunkin' Donuts serving Italian food? Like, who's going to Dunkin' Donuts for some Italian
chicken
dining?
Breast marinara deal.
Yeah, they have like a chicken parm. Like, who's going to Dunkin' Donuts for a chicken parm?
Yeah.
They had like a Thanksgiving sandwich recently. Like, it's disgusting.
That's for the person who's got no kids and no family on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, or they do have kids and they've given up so long ago. They're like, I'll eat a chicken parm at 10 a.m. from Dunkin' Donuts.
Right, and then put a bullet in my mouth.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, it's stuff like that.
Do you have any Denny's humor? I just feel like
Denny's. Yeah, Denny's. I should be able to write a whole special on Denny's. So I guess just stuff like that. You know, stuff that I deal with. You know, I have people ask me every day, when am I going to have kids? So I talk about it. My mom, my grandmother. You know. Dunkin' Donuts, like I said.
Does your wife hate kids too? Or not into them?
She's not as anti-kids as I am. And I don't hate kids, all right? I like my nieces. Kids are fine. Like, you get, hey, kid, what's up? Like, here's a munchkin and a high five. Boom. Like, that's fine. I just don't want to, like, have all the responsibility to take care of these things. Yeah,
change a diaper and pay for college.
She's just kind of always been like, she's very busy. She's very into her career.
What's she up to?
She's a clinical lab scientist, which is slightly different than being a comedian and karaoke host.
Because it pays?
It pays. It pays. Yeah, it doesn't make you insane. You can sleep at night. Things like that. And she likes, you know, we like to travel a lot. And so she likes the freedom of not having children.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. And you guys have your whole life ahead of you to have kids and be miserable.
Right, exactly. If I ever decide to throw in the towel, that'll be the day. Yeah.
Now, is it an Italian family, French family? Or?
So my wife's from Portugal. She was born in the Azores, 100% Portuguese. I have no ethnic identity, no heritage. I have nothing. I am just this white mutt. I have, seriously, like, because, like, well, my dad's dad was adopted.
Okay. Which
is where I get the last name Pierce. Like, I don't know. Like, that was the adopted parents. So it means nothing as far as, like, my background. Okay. When I asked my 100-year-old grandma, like, what am I never get a real clear answer. I do know
grandson, Brad.
she's Armenian.
Right, okay.
I know that.
Sure.
I don't know what my grandfather, her husband, was.
Because he was the adopted?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's the other side. Sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit.
No problem.
So then the other grandparents, he was adopted. And I don't know what she was. Right. I just know I have like a little bit of Armenian. I just know I'm like a white American guy.
Hey man, maybe you can claim Native Americanism and get some Mohegan Sun action.
Yeah, please pay up.
Some tokens and some coupons.
Yeah,
that would buffet.
That would be sweet. Yeah.
Man, you got me going. I want us to do my stand-up comedy again.
Let's do it. Let's just kick out the table to get a mic stand.
Right. I always like the term the golden mic. Now, is that the logo on your shirt? Or is that
this is the logo. A friend of mine, Rich Pellegrino, drew this logo for me. I had the golden mic around the name forever and didn't have a logo for years, but I finally have a logo. But yeah, that's And then I have one that Jason Mayo did for me, where he's like the little guy's holding a cup of coffee for Beverages with Brad. But
tell me about, and the people. We're not going to show clips of Beverages with Brad because there might be some conflicts there. But your show, I watched it the other day. It's about a 5 or 6 minute interview show with some really cool people. And what I was impressed with, Brad, is the editing is really quick, and you're showing a lot of stuff within 5 or 6 minutes. Tell me about Beverages with Brad.
Yeah, so, what happened was I did the old public access show. Then I got away from that, was doing other things. But I've always had like a passion for video. I've always been into that. And when I started doing stand-up, I started having this idea, man, I'd really like to do something with video that would sort of tie in with the stand-up.
Right.
And then I saw Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
Okay.
And I said, I will steal his idea.
Sure.
Essentially.
All right, what does he care?
Yeah, I don't think it's affecting him.
He's counting his billions. And
he's
like, well,
he's like,
Brad guy?
Oh, Brad's going to take, Brad's a real threat. So what I do basically is I interview, comedians, filmmakers, musicians, whoever, and I'll sit down with them at a bar or a coffee shop or a restaurant, have a beverage, hence the name.
Right.
And we'll talk for about an hour. And then I'll edit it down to 5 minutes.
Wow.
Which is a lot of editing.
Yes.
But I think it's worth it because people have a short attention span. You just get the highlights, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
And I always tell my friends, like, hey, check out the new show. Hey, takes 5 minutes of your time.
Right.
Check it out. You can even be driving and just listen to it. You know what I mean? It's a 5-minute thing. So yeah, I always try to keep it under 6 minutes each episode.
Are you editing yourself?
Yeah, I edit the whole thing myself. It's a grind.
yeah, because I was watching some of your episodes and I was thinking, is this a 20-minute interview that he chopped down to 5 or?
We'll sit down. It depends. It's not always the same amount of time, but we'll talk for a while. Some of my guests really like to blab, so it's like, in my head I'll be like, oh God, it's gonna take forever to edit. But it's worth it because you get I've gotten some really interesting stories. Everybody's got their own story. They've had their struggles, they've had their ups, they've had their downs, and I really like to learn that about people. You know what I mean? It's really cool. It can be really inspirational.
It's not really simple for anybody. Whether they're successful big time or not, a lot of people are in the entertainment world, whether it's stand-up comedy, acting, like I said about the traditional theater, or anything. It's just hard.
It is.
People don't get it. They just think you're on the stage.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, Brad, that stand-up comedy has always gotten my respect because you're on stage with a microphone, and that's it. You don't have another actor.
Yeah.
If you drop your lines, whether it's classical theater or improv, someone can back you up. Oh, I got this. But stand-up comedy, you're on your own.
It's pretty intense. I think that's one of the reasons I do like talking to people in the crowd, because when I'm just doing my jokes, you have everybody staring at you.
Right.
And that's a lot. But if I can talk to this clown, this drunk guy in the front row, now everybody's looking at this guy.
Right.
And they're looking at this guy for what ridiculous thing he's doing or saying, and it kind of takes the pressure off me a little bit.
Nice. Now, Messier mantra, and you're deflecting some of that heat, I guess. Messier mantra, sometimes I even forget to ask the guest if they have a personal mantra or a quote, from maybe another comedian or an author or a movie.
Oh, wow.
I put you on the spot because I forgot to explain the show.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. I don't think I do.
Yeah. What about your tattoos? I noticed you have. Is there any quotes on those or anything?
Oh, yeah, I have all sorts of, I guess you would say, like religious tattoos.
Sure,
I'm
why
not a
not?
huge fan of the word religious, but those types of things. Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Sure.
Again, which is another one. Christian is like another one of those terms. It's very big.
Yeah.
A lot of things could be put into that label.
Right.
Most of those things I hate. So again, when I say like things like, oh, I'm a Christian, or I have religious tattoos, I feel like there's all these people will have all these presuppositions that I'm like a judgmental douchebag, which I'm not like a huge fan of. But I like Jesus a lot. I'm down with the gospel.
Good. People don't sometimes, and so am I, so people don't always realize Christian is not the same as Catholic, Baptist, Mormon. Like they just think it's...
Well, I mean, again, it's a big word. It's all how you define your terms, you know what I mean? Like there's, a bazillion different branches of Protestantism that would call themselves Christians. Catholics would call themselves Christians. Mormons would even call themselves Christians.
Right.
And it's like, well, those all mean so many different things. So it's a huge thing, but in a simple term, to keep it as simple as possible, I I believe that people, me, you, everybody's screwed up. We all have issues. We're all sinners. God is good, loves us anyways. That's what the gospel's all about. That offers me hope. I like it. It's exciting. And that's a very simple version of what I believe in a nutshell.
I think it's great, Brad. I mean, I think you just nailed a lot of wonderful things there. So we're going to have you on another episode, if you don't mind, and we're going to talk more with Brad Pierce.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks for watching this episode of Messier Mantra with our special guest, comedian, personality Brad Pierce. We'll see you next time on Messier Mantra.